boys and girls. Today's story is about how Mr. McGregor plants his garden. And before I read this story, I want to ask you, have any of you planted a garden? Some of you might have already, since we're home, have planted a garden. I know I've planted some things in my garden. I'm excited to see it grow. It's exciting. I want to hear how he prepares. How does Mr. McGregor, what is the first thing we do when we need to plant a garden? What is the first thing we do? Get the seeds? Yes. I have a picture of a little boy. He has some seeds here. They're in his hand. And he's planting them in a little container, right? What do you think's in that container? Dirt or soil? Correct, right. What's the second step? This is the first step. What's the second step in planting a garden? Yeah, we need to water it. A garden needs water and what? What comes from the sky? Sun, that's right. Water and sun to help grow, right? If you look closely, that little boy is watering it and you can see his little plant starting to grow. That's exciting. That's the second step. So the first step was plant the garden. Plant it in with the seed. He used some seeds. Looks like he's growing a squash. Okay, he had soil in there. Then he watered it. That's step 2. The third step, it's growing. It's gotten bigger, right? The sun and the water has made it bigger. And then the fourth step after that, he gets to pull the vegetable out, right? Or what he's growing. So, and look at that. He has some squash there. So just like us, God takes care of us. We need water and sun to grow. Fruits and vegetables also need water and sun to grow. I would love to hear if you guys are growing a garden. And if you are, what you're growing in it. So next time I talk to you on our Zoom, tell me what you're growing. I got to see some of my friends' garden already, and I love to see that. And I want to see how well it's growing, okay? So today's story is about Mr. McGregor. Remember we read the story about the rabbits and how the rabbits got into Mr. McGregor's garden? So listen to find out about Mr. McGregor, what he plants today. Mrs. McGregor knew that today she and Mr. McGregor would be working hard to plant the garden. She decided to fix a big breakfast. She fried some sausage patties, scrambled some eggs, made a big pan of biscuits. Breakfast smells delicious, said Mr. McGregor as he sat down to eat. Why does Mrs. McGregor fix such a big breakfast? Why does Mrs. McGregor... That's right. She fixed such a big breakfast because they're going to be planting a garden today, and it's going to take a lot of work and time. After breakfast, they went outside. Mr. McGregor got very busy working and chopping down weeds, digging holes, pulling up roots and rocks to make sure the soil was nice and smooth. He placed the rocks in the wheelbarrow while Mrs. McGregor raked the old weeds and roots into a pile. Eek! Squealed Mrs. McGregor as a field mouse scurried by. I hope you're the only mouse out here, she said, watching it disappear into the grass. Mr. McGregor laughed. You should see all the earthworms I'm uncovering. Remember, that's a sign of a good garden. When there's earthworms in your garden, that means that's good soil. So that's a really cool thing to see when you're planting a garden. Let me hear if you see any earthworms in your garden like Mr. McGregor does. As they worked, they decided where they would plant the different vegetables. Several hours later, the soil was clear and ready for planting. What do the McGregors do first? What are they doing out in the garden? Are they planting already? No. What are they doing? That's right. They're chopping the weeds, digging up the rocks, putting all the rocks in a wheelbarrow. Mr. McGregor used the hoe to form straight rows. It's a type of equipment. It has a stick, and on the bottom it's straight. Mr. McGregor walked behind him. Mrs. McGregor walked behind him and dropped the beans, beet, corn, and radish seeds into the soil. When she finished, they went back and covered each seed with soil because you can't just leave it uncovered. Mr. McGregor made the holes, and then Mrs. McGregor dropped the seed in, and then they went in and covered the seed. Later, they planted some tomatoes, green peppers, and lettuce plants. So they planted, listen to what they plant: beans, beet, corn, radish seeds, and also tomatoes, green peppers, and lettuce plants. Ooh, what do they plant? What are some of the things that the McGregors are planting? That's right, beans, beets, corn, radishes, tomatoes, and peppers, and lettuce. That's right. Flopsy, Mopsy, Peter, and Cottontail were hopping down the path. They stopped and looked through the fence. Look, said Peter Rabbit. The McGregors are planting their garden. I'm getting hungry already. Soon we'll be able to eat fresh lettuce and carrots. Who sees Mr. McGregor in his garden? Who sees him? Yeah, that's right, the little rabbits. And what does Peter want? Peter's a sneaky rabbit, isn't he? He wants some fresh lettuce and carrots. But Mama says we can't go into Mr. McGregor's garden, said Flopsy. The last time you went into that garden, you lost your clothes. Remember the story yesterday? And you ate so much, you got sick. Remember, Peter Rabbit got sick because he ate so much out of Mr. McGregor's garden. Then the McGregors didn't see Flopsy, Mopsy, Peter, and Cottontail looking at their garden. And it was a good thing. Do you think the McGregors would have been happy if they saw them, the rabbits in the garden, their freshly made garden? No, I don't think so either. So remember, the steps to the garden. First, we get the seeds, we plant them in the soil, you cover the soil up, you make sure it has plenty of water and sun, that's right. Then you wait patiently, just like our Bible verse, James 5:8. Be ye also patient, because it doesn't grow overnight. You have to be patient, and then the plant will grow. And if you're patient more, you'll have fruit or vegetable. So that was step 4. All right, guys, good job today's story. I can't wait to read you tomorrow's story and let's see what happens. Have a great day.